There is some really disturbing news from Commissioner Brendan Carr today. He is from the FCC. The Biden administration has just put forward a plan for digital equity, and it is a plan for all internet services and all infrastructure. According to FCC Commissioner Carr, President Biden's plan hands the administrative state effective control of all internet services and infrastructure in the country. Never before in the roughly 40-year history of the public internet has the FCC, or any federal agency for that matter, claimed this degree of control over it. The plan calls for the FCC to apply a far-reaching set of government controls that the agency has not applied to any technology in the modern era. You got that? This has never been done before. No communication devices have ever had this kind of control suggested by the government, let alone applied. He went on and said Congress never contemplated the sweeping regulatory regime that President Biden asked the FCC to adopt, let alone authorize the agency to implement it. Here's what's happening. As with everything else the Biden administration is doing, his broadband policies are failing. And the building of internet infrastructure in this country, the price of it has gone through the roof. FCC wants new 5G broadband services, but it's all needlessly been blocked and delayed by new broadband infrastructure regulatory red tape. So the government is blocking the private sector from doing it, and then using that to say, see, we need to take complete control. This is breathtaking control of all information. The rules that are suggested and are going to be voted on, quick, hurry, next week, the federal government has a roving mandate to micromanage nearly every aspect of how the internet functions, from how internet service providers allocate capital, where they build, to the services that consumers can purchase, from the profits that ISPs can realize, and how they market and advertise services, to the discounts and promotions that consumers can receive. If passed, the FCC will be empowered for the first time to regulate every ISP's service termination terms, use of customer credit, account history, credit checks, account termination, among other items. He said, this plan reads like a document drawn up in the faculty lounge of a university's Soviet studies department. It includes plans to empower the FCC to regulate every single aspect of the internet for the first time ever. You have an FCC policy advisor who has just read the plan. He said, quote, to call it extreme or radical doesn't do this proposal justice. Phil Kerpen has just come out and said Biden is turning digital discrimination into a pretext for regulating everything for equity. This is so far-reaching that it will mean even the blaze, because we are on the backbone of the internet. We can be completely separate, everything. But because we're on the backbone of the internet, we will now have to comply by government FCC regulations. I have done broadcast under FCC regulations for 48 years. I know what FCC regulations are like. I also started before Reagan, I think it was before Reagan, deregulated the radio waves and television waves. I will tell you that those regulations today would put this show out of business. I could not do what I do today if they just went back to the regulations that were in the FCC back in the 40s and 60s and 80s. I'll have more on this. This just came to my attention. I'll have more on this, but this is a very big deal.